Back to Titan Replay. We're talking with head coach Chris Colin from UDM. And men's lacrosse program was at Notre Dame for a scrimmage on Saturday. You're headed to the Virginia Military Academy on this coming Saturday, so it's go week for you.
Yes, it is. We can't wait. We've gone there a few times in our past. I'm happy to go back there and see what we can do this week.
Chris, let's talk about the easiest part. Notre Dame. Talk a little bit about the scouting report. You guys, you're on a bus for 4 hours, and you got to get off and play. That makes it a bit tough. But talk a little bit about Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, we for our goalies to get off the bus, 45 minutes later, they're seeing shots inside. We haven't practiced inside at all. And some of the best shooters in the world, like seriously amazing shooters on the run, shooters. We struggled a little early on saving the ball, but defensively we did okay. Clearing, we did okay. Offense, we got to a lot of looks. Did we shoot well early? We did not. But I'm happy with our progress. Notre Dame's going to be a fun team to watch, and I'm happy. I think we gave them a pretty good look, and they gave us an excellent look.
So we head down to Virginia Military Academy playing a MAC team, and you obviously are going to enjoy that competition down there, playing a little warmer weather. Kind of preview the game and talk a little bit about their program.
Yeah, VMI, I got a lot of respect for how they do things. James is one of the best young coaches out there. He understands his situation down there and really tries to optimize it. So, those kids are rats, and I mean that in a good way. That's what they call themselves. They go hard all the time. They have that military attitude. Their college experience is so much different than everyone else. They bring that to the table when they play us. And so we're going to have to be very disciplined. They're going to capitalize on all of our mistakes, so we can't make many. We're just looking forward to this battle. We've played them many times in the past, and it's going to be great playing them this time.
You go down on Thursday or Friday?
Oh, we go down Friday.
Fly?
Oh, no. We bus.
We bus down. So how far a trip is
so
it?
That's a challenge for us. That's one of the reasons why we did these scrimmages the way we did them. We scrimmaged Notre Dame and Indianapolis, and we kind of pushed the get off the bus and play to kind of teach ourselves how to travel and be in an adverse situation and still perform well.
Silly question, but what's the cost difference between a bus and a plane for the size kids you'd have to carry? Is it double?
Plane to travel, a limited roster is like $20,000, and the bus is about $8,000. So, and you can take the whole team. So, while we would like to take as many people as we can, we have to do the bus situation for our budget.
Saturday, what should we expect from you?
Look for our offense to be a lot of different scorers, we hope. Look for us to do pretty well in transition. Look for our defense to kind of grow and get stronger as the game goes on. And, hopefully we're just playing a really solid game, and we've grown from last year.
You cleared well against Notre Dame from what I saw on film.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. That was a real struggle last year. We worked on it this fall. And I'm pretty, that's a tough team to clear against. They're so athletic, and you're playing on a football field when you play them indoors. So a lot of challenges, and we made some great passes. We made the simple pass most of the time and cleared about 85%, which is pretty good for us.
I will also briefly talk. We're talking with John Torpy tomorrow. So talk a little bit about the following weekend. You're headed down to High Point. A little different team than VMI. Yeah,
they're a great team. They've for a team that has a lot of resources, they really have a chip on their shoulder. They've been denied some tournament bids, and they're a very talented team. So another tough travel situation. We're going to bus down there, and they have their 10-man ride that they're so good at. It's a great coaching staff down there that has their guys ready. So they're going to throw some wrinkles at us that we haven't seen before, and we're going to hopefully be ready for them, and we're going to hopefully throw some wrinkles at them that they haven't seen.
Last question. When you schedule the early part of the season, do you do a football process where you're trying to play teams you can compete with, or you do the Michigan State aspiration where you're playing, sort of the toughest what goes through your mind when you're scheduling?
Last year we went, all Big Ten, Notre Dame, and we kind of struggled with that. So we backed off a little bit. We're trying to do some tough teams and some teams that are more our speed, a little bit of both.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, best of luck, and we will check in after the two games to get a wrap up, and stay tuned. We're going to talk to both the coaches, and good luck.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
Welcome back to Titan Replay. We're talking with VMI head coach James Papura, who is in his third season. And we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming game this Saturday with the University of Detroit Mercy coming down to visit you in Lexington, Virginia. Last year, you guys had a Donnybrook. But before we get to last year and this upcoming game, you had a chance to go to North Carolina this past weekend. So talk a little bit about your team, and you got the opener that's coming Saturday. So let us know what's going on.
Yeah, certainly, Greg, thanks for having me on. We were at the luxury to go to an ACC this past weekend and, play two top 20 preseason opponents. And I think for scrimmages, kind of like preseason in the NFL, you want to get your guys ready. You want to stay healthy. You want to see what you do well, what you need to work on. And, hopefully everybody wins at the end of the day and that they get prepared for when it actually counts. So overall, it was a good day. Everybody got to play, gain some valuable experience, and it was really an awesome experience for our young men to also have that experience, right? Get to go to Chapel Hill, and a lot of our guys have clearly watched those games on TV growing up and things like that. So they learned what the expectation is and where we ultimately want to be.
4-11 in 2022. Obviously, you start off with the University of Detroit Mercy game coming up on Saturday. Last year, you guys were up here, and it was a 16-11. I watched the film of the game a couple weeks ago. It was a crazy game.
No doubt. Yeah, it was a unique one. And, it was we played at, I forget the name of the exact high school. They had ripped their turf that week, I believe, at the university. And, credit to their guys. They pulled out the win.
Yeah, it was interesting. 4 wins from the first year. We had 1 win, but typically VMI has not been a real strong contender, but it looks like it's moving in the right direction. What's changed under your tenure?
Yeah, I think last year obviously was an exciting year. We were able to accomplish some things that haven't been done, either ever or in a really long time. And, pretty confident we're the youngest team in the nation. We don't take transfers. We're not doing 5th-year grad school and things of that nature. We're homegrown, right? So we're recruiting, we're developing. For us, when we came in as a new staff, we wanted to come in and establish a culture. What are our values going to be? What's going to drive our behavior that's ultimately going to help us achieve or not achieve results? And, I give a lot of credit to the young men that were here and bought in and really did laying the groundwork for our identity as a culture and who we're going to be. And then unlike, the NFL football and being a Buffalo Bills fan for all those years, fortunately, they're a little bit better now. But if you're the worst team in the league, you get the number 1 overall draft pick. It doesn't work like that in college athletics. You got to recruit. So step 2 for us is acquire and develop talent. We brought in our first recruiting class that was freshmen last year. Yeah, I think we played roughly on average about 8 freshmen a game. And even in that game last year, we started 2 freshmen, close defensemen throughout the year. By middle of the season, we started 2 attackmen that were freshmen. Our face-off guy was a freshman. So certainly a lot of youthful inexperience, but getting those guys, developing them, and then continuing to recruit better now into that culture and having some of that stability. I think that's another thing that, is really important in sports, is having that continuity of, hey, our guys know what our zone offense is or our defensive schematics, and they're not having to learn a new playbook every single year. So certainly that stability has been awesome. And we got a great group of young guys who are humble and hungry and ready to attack this 2023 campaign.
UDM is currently an ASUN member, but we're in the MAC as you were. You've played a lot against them, so you've got film. You have kind of a tendency of knowing what they do. From what you've learned from North Carolina scrimmage this past week, what have you learned about your team that we might take notice to if we were watching the game?
Certainly, there's going to be some changes. I think we're going to do some things a little bit differently in certain facets of the game that we've worked on throughout the fall. That we're looking to just overall grow our menu as a program. So we're excited for that. I think that game really kind of showed that, hey, we still got more work to do in this category, or hey, we you can see the results, the fruits of the labor are starting to work themselves out.
James, you're an offensive guy. How much do you put your fingers in at the defensive stuff, or do you kind of leave them alone?
Yeah, certainly my first 2 years, I think coming in, I wanted to get my hands on really everybody and just build relationships with every player. We did have an assistant coaching change. Mikey Herring, who had been my OC the first 2 years, went to UMBC. And so I have resorted a little bit more back to the offensive side and been working and calling our offense this year. And Kevin Doherty, our defensive coordinator, has been with me now for 4 years. He actually came with me to VMI. And so just having that continuity and familiarity, he knows what my expectations are. We have the same, philosophy and school of thought. So, we're constantly communicating, our entire staff in the office, and it's collaborative. And so fortunately, not much has changed. We return our entire close defensive unit, and our offensive guys are a little bit younger. So getting back there, it's been fun. But it's certainly a little bit different than the last 2 years.
Last reference, you made reference to the Buffalo Bills. Central and you're kind of Western New York. It's a fertile place to recruit. Obviously, they got great players. You think of Long Island attackmen, but reality is that there's some real good players in Western New York, and you know that probably better than anybody. Is it still the hotbed that it was even 10 years ago?
It's. I think there's great players everywhere. I think certainly, as you know, Greg, the sport has grown, and you can get guys really from all over the United States and Southern Canada now. So it's been a great thing to see for us. We get a lot of the Southeast. We get kids from, we're really a national brand now, where we brought in multiple kids from California. We have kids coming in from Oregon, Texas, so on and so forth. And I think that's important, and you see that for sure. We do have a kid coming in from next year from Rochester, so being a Section 5 guy, that's pretty cool. We have a kid from Boston Spa who's a sophomore on our roster right now out in the Capital Region. So we'd like to expand a little bit more into Western New York or just upstate in general. We got a few Long Island guys on the team as well, but I still think Section 5, it used to kind of be a little bit more untapped, to your point, where you had like the Irondequoits and some of the more historical programs that played with West Jenny, and those were like the programs, Baldensville. But there's still guys up there. I just think people recruited a little bit more now, and there are a ton of schools, Division II, Division III, in that region that kind of get that first crack. And you think about getting a guy to visit a lot of different places, you're driving or going by a lot of schools on the way.
Well, everything we've heard, the cadets are in good hands with your program, and we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully a very competitive game for both you and UDM this coming weekend, and have a great season.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks for having me on.